So the book that I am using most of the time when I'm working out the Yoga Sutras these days is one called Tantra of the Yoga Sutras. And this is by my teacher, Alan Finger. And it's also with Wendy Norman, who basically compiled this with him as a way of writing a book. She would ask him questions via email and he would respond, and eventually they made a book out of it. So it goes through the Yoga Sutras. What are the Yoga Sutras and what is Tantra is also the question I want to answer real quick, and then we can get into our yoga practice. So the Yoga Sutras are the list or the compilation of teachings of yoga. It's a roadmap to what's called samadhi, or even to go beyond that, what's called viveka. So I'll explain those two terms in a second. But it is a guidebook for the practice of yoga. And in this guidebook, there is one section that talks about asana, the physical practice, as one of the 8 limbs of yoga. One of the 8 parts of practicing yoga means that you also do this thing where you maintain your physical well-being and develop your awareness of your physical body. We'll be practicing asana throughout this entire immersion, and our focal point, of course, is always going to be asana within this context of the immersions, or at least within the physical practices. But we'll also be practicing some of the other limbs like pranayama, which is breath work, and meditation. And there's more to it than that. Of course, there's these 8 limbs, but then there's all this way that the Yoga Sutras breaks down this big subject of oneness or consciousness, and it's like the ability to, or I should say, it's the practices that are designed to help us as humans that are experiencing separateness to experience oneness. And when we do so, the path of viveka is illuminated. So let me explain that real quick. Viveka is compassionate, we could say artful, conscious living. It's living with the awareness that we as an individual are part of a bigger whole. Now, it might just sound like a new agey kind of way of saying this, but this is a very profound way of living. It's not just a kind of a buzz sentence or phrase of saying like, oh, everybody's one, but literally feeling and experiencing that absorption into the fullness of all we are, our potential as a human being to tap into that through our focus and our attention is what this is all about. Now, that's the bigger picture. The halfway point and perhaps the priority as we begin the practice of yoga is not so much to even get to that point yet, but rather to get to the connection to this state of oneness, this temporary experience where the mind can focus and concentrate so much that it's actually able to experience the oneness itself, or the absorption into the present moment, the now, which is called, that experience is called samadhi. Samadhi is that the dissolving of the different aspects of the mind, which we'll go over all in detail. I'll tell you about the different parts of the mind, but if we think about the mental chatter of the mind that's happening kind of all the time through imagery, through we can hear ourselves speak and reflect. We have emotional responses to scenarios and situations that we're in. All of this is happening inside of us at all times, and samadhi is when all of that is calm and still, or at least that's one interpretation of it. The way that I like to interpret it is samadhi is when we are focused so intently on all there is that the chaos of the mind, or let me say this, when we're focused so intentionally or intently, and our attention is completely pinpointed on the present moment, then all of the chaos of the mind is not a match for, or is not loud enough, and does not occupy our consciousness because we're focused on what is now. So the thoughts of the future and the processing of the past and all of the sounds and the processing of our senses and everything that is going on normally in our head might still be happening, but our attention is so focused on one thing that we are completely present. And it's not to say that we need to live here. That's not necessarily what this is talking about, the sutras. It's not about like reaching some artificial stage of enlightenment that's like, you know, then you are no longer distracted by the mind or by things or by material things or whatever, but rather to be able to harness the power of the mind and that energy that is in the mind in order to focus our attention. And then where we place that attention at first is on the present moment, which brings us to that place of samadhi. And then we go beyond that eventually to placing our attention on everything that we do and putting care and love and concern and the ability to really touch every person and everything in this world from the place of presence. So every conversation we have, right? Every time we chop a vegetable making dinner, or if we are doing a task, to be fully present in that. And it doesn't say that we shouldn't have moments where we sleep or we rest or anything like that. So I want to make sure that we are not trying to get towards some kind of artificial idealism when we walk this path of viveka, of compassionate living, and walk the path of yoga, in other words. But rather, we are understanding that we are humans with an ego, which is identity that separates us. And we are humans with senses that are constantly being bombarded with information. And the mind is constantly trying to process that information. And so noise in the head and thoughts and emotions and reactivity are a necessary part and actually a gift of being human, that we're not trying to abolish the mental chatter, but rather we're trying to cultivate the part of our mind that is able to focus. That is the essence of what the Yoga Sutras is all about, and it starts off right away with that statement. It says, Atta Yoga Nusasanam. Nusasanam, or Atta Yoga Nusasanam, means simply this: in the now, yoga happens. Right now. And I know that unfortunately, the teaching, because of its power, because of its efficacy, has become so mainstream that the weight of it gets lost. So in the now, yoga happens, or when we are able to be focused here and now, that is the experience of yoga. And I want to make sure that we don't lose sight of the power of that or the weight of it and allow it to be part of our practice. But in the introduction, so that's Sutra 1.1, and then it goes on to say in Sutra 1.2, Yoga Chitta or Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha means that when the vrittis, which are the activity of the mind, come to stillness, then yoga happens. So yoga happens when you can stop the mind stuff. And I think one way of looking at it is to actually stop the mental chatter. It's to stop the, and one of the things in Yoga Sutras says pratyahara is one of the 8 limbs. Pratyahara is the withdrawal of the senses. It says to take away the sensory input in order to help you on the path of focusing the mind, because if you close the eyes, you close the ears, you stop the sense, you just turn inward instead of taking in all the information from the outside world, it is easier to experience samadhi. But in the real world, we have these beautiful senses and we have to be able to take in information and not necessarily always be focused and allow our attention to drift to everything. So and we know this, like when you are listening right now, for example, if a scent comes along, it's very easy to get distracted by the scent. Or if a noise outside gets, hits, then suddenly your attention gets pulled. And so to me, something my teachers have shared with me is not necessarily stopping the, and it's a practice to pratyahara is a practice, but it's not the end result. The end result really is to be able to take in information from the outside senses or from the outside world through the senses, and yet still stay focused with our attention on the task or the thing or the moment at hand. So it's strengthening our attention, strengthening in neuroscience the prefrontal cortex, the part of our what they would call top-down in neuroscience, the ability to actually be deliberate with our actions and not be reactive necessarily, or at least be so strongly with our being deliberate that our reactivity is weaker. And so Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha, I think, is one of the most powerful ones in the Yoga Sutras. So it opens up and it says, hey, Atta Yoga Nusasanam, in the now yoga happens. And basically what that means, what challenges us from the now, from being in the now, is these vrittis, these rise and fall of mental chatter, of all of the reactivity of the mind. And it pulls us, or it captivates our attention and draws us in to the sound, to the, what does this have to do with me? So like when you see something, you start to identify or not identify with that something. So the ego is playing a role in that mental chatter, trying to figure out, what does this have to do with me? What does that noise, what does that smell, what does that sound have to do with me? What does this touch have to do with me? Right? So there's a lot of mental chatter going on. That's what we call the vritti. That's just the umbrella of mental chatter, vrittis. So when the vrittis cease, or when we are able to focus so intently that the vrittis are not distracting us, that's a different interpretation. I like that one. Then yoga can happen. And then it says, tada drastu swarupe vashtanam. And what that means is, then we experience the true essence of consciousness, which is pure awareness in the now. So when the mental chatter stops, we can then experience the essence of true consciousness, which is pure awareness in the now. And consciousness and awareness, these are two very big terms. Now they're all synonymous with one another, more or less. Consciousness is what is within all things. It's not the same, I just want to put this out, not the same kind of context, and some people will start to relate this to religion as from Christianity, this idea of heaven and hell, that there's a God and there's a devil. It's not that, but rather that what's giving life to all things, what is also providing sustenance, meaning sustaining life, and what's also destroying life, all of that is consciousness. So consciousness is not a good or a bad thing. It is just an isness. It's what is animating all things, and it's what is pulling things back into potential, which is like to destroy something. So there's a rise and fall, a creation and destruction, all within the world of consciousness. And we can probably get into that in this immersion about what is consciousness, but essentially that is a question you can probably explore for the rest of your life. But consciousness is that pulse of energy that is constantly contracting and expanding within all things, including us. You can feel it in the heartbeat, you can feel it in the breath, in your thoughts, in life events. Things expand, things contract. This is just the pulse, what is called spanda. Okay, and then finally, and I know I'm giving you a lot here, we'll just bring it back to in the now yoga happens, but I do want to give you a little introduction as to this entire immersion and what we're doing here. So vritti swarupyam itratra, but when there's movement in our consciousness, the mind tends to identify with the images that it creates. So this is what I kind of already went over, but vritti swarupe itratra means that when there is movement in the consciousness, the mind tends to identify with that movement. So basically it kind of goes back and forth. It says in the now yoga happens, and when the vrittis are still, and when the mind stuff is still, then we are basically in the now. We are in that yoga experience. But the experience, then it says, then we experience the true essence of consciousness, which is pure awareness in the now. But the problem is when movement happens in the consciousness, we then start to identify, or the mind starts to identify with the images that it creates. So like when mind stuff happens, we identify with it, we get lost in it, and so on. So our objective, in short, for this immersion is to be in the now. In the rest of the sutras that we will gain, and we'll just kind of stay on this line today, but the rest of the sutras that we'll go through will give us tools to stay in the now. For now, for this class particularly, I'd like us simply to be aware when we are not in the now. And the reasons perhaps which we might run away from the now, such as discomfort. So you've been sitting here for the last 15 minutes with me, right? And your legs might be uncomfortable, your body might be uncomfortable, and it pulls you out of the now. So that feeling of discomfort, we try to numb, we try to kind of fidget, and that's okay, by the way. I'm just saying there's a lot that will pull us out of being completely present. Rather than being able to identify or recognize that the body is uncomfortable and still be present, still be focused. The mind is having impatience and still be focused and still be present. And be able to have this awareness, if you think of like the self here, the small self, and then this awareness of it being the witnessing part of ourselves, being able to see and watch without judgment, but just in that place of observation. That is the practice of yoga, to observe what is. We observe that we are distracted. We observe that we have a discomfort. And yogis for a long time have observed that when they've been sitting for a while to focus their attention on their mind through meditation and breath work, that the body becomes distracting and uncomfortable. So one of the practices is asana, physical practice, to become aware of the body, to bring health to the muscular system and to our movements, and to feel, to get connected to this thing that moves and brings us through life, this vehicle that we call the body. And so with that, let's practice asana. All right, so we'll begin in a child's pose at arms out in front, knees wide. Let me just see something here for myself. Gonna lower the quality just to get fast forward a little bit. Okay. All right, so arms out in front, knees wide, extended child's pose. Begin the sound of Ujjayi breath. That's the gentle whisper through the nose. And then walk the hands over to the left side of the yoga mat and get a nice little stretch in the right rib cage. Come back to center and walk the hands over to the right side of the mat. Breathe into the left side. And back to the center. Stretch long with the arms. Come forward to all fours, hands and knees. Arch the back, look up. Exhale, round the back, move back to child's pose. Inhale forward, tuck the toes, arch the back. Exhale, point the feet, round the back. Inhale, forward, tuck the toes, arch the back. Exhale, point the feet around, child's pose. Inhale, forward, tuck toes, arch the back. This time come to downward facing dog, hips up and back. Take a couple of breaths, pedal out the legs, bend the knees, wag the tail. And stretch long, reach, push through the hands so your shoulders rise a little closer to the ears and your hips move up and back. It'll stretch the hamstrings a little longer when you push through the arms. And really push through the outside of the hands so the outer arms push. That'll help your shoulders rotate properly. Forward plank pose on the inhale, round the back. Exhale, place the knees down, lower onto your belly. A little baby cobra, lift the heart up on the inhale. Chin and throat back. Exhale, release. Heart and hands lift on the inhale. Shoulder blades squeeze together. Exhale. Heart, hands, and feet. Inhale, lift the feet up, lift the heart up, hands up. Exhale, release. Come to all fours, inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take the right leg to the sky on the in-breath. Bend the knee, open up the hip as you exhale. Full breath in. Full breath out. Inhale, straighten the legs, square the hip. Step right foot forward. High up on the fingertips, take a breath. Atta Yoga Nusasanam. So in the now, yoga happens. At the start of any adventure, it's a great time to make sure you set the intent and be deliberate about your actions to be in the now. So as I layer on actions by actions, asking you to engage muscles and do different things with your joints, stay focused on those actions. Feel what those actions create in the body. Feel what muscles engage. That feeling, that tuning into the sensations of your body, that is being in the now. Yes, you will have to think about the action if it's new. And then the thought about doing something, that is still focusing your attention. Thinking is not a bad thing. That's not what yoga is saying. Yoga is saying harness those thoughts. Harness the power of them to be present with what you're doing now. So take a breath in and start to pull your feet toward one another, activating the legs. So you're dragging the mat towards each other or underneath your feet. Now scoop your tailbone a little bit, and that will round your back more. Pull your front ribs in by pulling your chest away from your thighs so it's barely able to touch the ground. Take a full breath in, lengthen through the top of the head. Exhale, back down dog. Forward to plank pose on the inhale. Child's pose as you exhale. All fours. Inhale, arch the back, tuck the toes. Exhale, hips up and back down dog. Left leg to the sky. Inhale. Bend the knee, open up the hip. Breathe in here. Feel the sensations along the left side of the body. Straighten the legs, square the hip. Step forward. Atta Yoga Nusasanam. We take a breath in. Remind ourselves to be present, fully here in the now, feeling the sensations of our body, which may include the breath pulsing. When you feel the breath moving into your body, you can feel an energy that is moving through you. That's what's called prana. Hatha Yoga Nusasanam. In the now, yoga happens. So let's take action in the now. And we do so by pulling our feet toward each other. Gather strength in your legs. So as you pull your feet toward each other, your hips will lift slightly and your inner thigh muscles will engage. Try to really feel those muscles activate. The tuning into the sensations of the body, that is being in the now. Now, scoop your tailbone and round the back so you get a little lighter in the hands like you're about to stand up. Lengthen through the top of the head, really reach the top of the head forward, the back of the neck long. Let's take a full breath in. Downward facing dog. Forward to plank pose, inhale. Knees down, child's pose, exhale. Inhale, forward, all fours. Tuck the toes. Arch the back. Exhale, hips up and back, down dog. Right leg to the sky, inhale. Step right foot forward as you exhale. High up on the fingertips, take a breath, get strong in the legs. Now push down through your right heel and twist, turn the belly. Exhaling. Inhale to unwind, touch the ground on the inhale, breathe in. Use your exhale to turn the belly, twist. Inhale, unwind. Exhale, twist. Inhale, right hand to the inside of the right foot. Turn the back heel down. Gather strength in the legs, push down through the right heel, turn the torso, turn the chest. Inhale, unwind. If you'd like, you can reach underneath your leg. Exhale, scoop the tailbone, push down through your front heel and twist. One more. Exhale. Both hands to the ground. Pivot the back heel up. Step to down dog as you exhale. Forward to plank pose, inhale. Exhale, this time knees down, lower, chaturanga all the way to the ground. Slide the hands wide. Come onto your fingertips. For some of you, this is going to be new, those of you that are new to practicing with me, and it'll be a little bit awkward, probably for the first couple of practices. So give it a shot, try it on, and do your best, and I'm happy to support you. You can put your questions in the Facebook group as you wish, okay? So on the inhale, you'll lift your front body up, peel your body away from the ground. On the exhale, you try to melt your shoulders back, chest forward, middle back forward towards the front of the mat. Okay, and even reach your toes back. Now, as you reach your toes back, pull your chest forward, lift your belly up on the next inhale, all the way up through the back of the neck, and pull your chest forward. Exhale to release. So it really is in 3 parts plus a release. So we do it again. Inhale, lift the front body up. Step 1. Step 2, soften, melt the middle chest, shoulders back. Step 3, pull your chest to the front and lift your belly up. Uddiyana Bandha. Exhale, release. Okay, come to all fours, hands and knees. We can develop that, and I'll give you more techniques as we go along. Downward facing dog. One breath in here to feel, to Hatha Yoga Nusasana, be in the now. Left leg to the sky, inhale. Step left foot forward. Come up onto your fingertips. Gather strength by pulling your feet toward each other. Push straight down through your left heel. Your buttocks will activate. Twist. Inhale, unwind. Exhale, push down, twist. Inhale, unwind. Exhale. Left hand to the inside of the foot, back heel down. Inhale here. Pull your feet toward each other. Push down through the left heel now. Exhale, turn the pelvis, turn the belly, turn the chest. Inhale, unwind. Optionally, you can reach your right arm underneath. Exhale, scoop the tail, turn the belly, chest. Inhale, one more time. Right hand to the ground. Pivot the back heel up to step to down dog. Forward to plank pose, inhale. Lower down chaturanga. Slide hands and feet wide, three-part cobra, inhale. Exhale, melt shoulders back, chest forward. Pull the belly in and up through the back of the neck, and release. Come to plank or all fours, inhale. Exhale, down dog. 3 breaths. Get long in the shoulders. And feel the sensations of the body. Sensations exist in the now. It's a great little way to get the mind present, is to observe what you feel. So many times we are running away from sensations, running away from experiences, running away from our discomforts, taking us out of the moment, out of the now. In the now doesn't mean everything is easy or happy or joyful. Sometimes it doesn't. But it is the reality of where we're living, and that can release us, release the mind into a certain sense of freedom. Walk the feet to the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale and bow. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bow. Inhale, halfway lift one more time. And exhale, bow. This time you can bend your knees. Take the hands behind the back, interlace the fingers, stretch the shoulders the best you can. Helpful to allow the shoulders to move a little towards the ears. And then retract, meaning pull your shoulder blades towards each other as you reach the hands away from you. Let's do 2 more breaths. Hands to the hips, squeezing the shoulder blades toward each other. Arch the back like a back bend. Rise all the way up to stand. Take a moment in Tadasana, mountain pose, to breathe and feel into this moment. Hatha Yoga Nusasana. In the now, yoga happens. And the sutras acknowledge that one of the challenges is that we do get distracted by the mind stuff, the chatter of the mind. So when you experience the mental chatter, it's not that you've done something wrong, it's that you are a human living life, and this is part of how the mind has been trained. So instead, we're just retraining our mental pathways to be more focused, to be more present in the now, to experience life as it's happening here. Hatha Yoga Nusasana. Inhale, reach the arms to the sun, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, bow, Uttanasana, forward fold. Halfway lift on the inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Left foot steps back as you exhale. Pull your feet toward each other, press down through the front heel, rise up, high lunge. Hold here as you exhale. Pressing your 2 feet down and dragging them in will give you strength and stability in the legs, and then allow you the freedom to get taller. So like climb your left shoulder and your right shoulder up a little bit higher until you feel your ribs start to lift up away from your hips. And you're going to feel this abdominal cavity starts to cinch in and upwards. So get taller, get lighter, get stronger. Strong in the legs, lift it in the midsection, all the way up through your fingers. Take the hands back a little bit, lift the gaze slightly, take a full breath in. Exhale, hands to the ground. Straighten through the front leg on the inhale, look forward. Exhale and bow forward over your straight front leg. Bend the front knee on the inhale. Step to down dog as you exhale. Forward to plank pose, inhale. Exhale, Chaturanga. Slide the hands and feet wide, three-part cobra, inhale. Soften as you exhale, melt the midsection, the low belly and back forward towards the front of the mat. Pull the chest through your shoulders. Pull forward with your chest. Lift the heart. Exhale, release. Plank or all fours, inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog. One breath, Atta Yoga Nusasana. In the now, yoga happens. Recognizing when we're not there is the practice. Bringing ourselves back. Right leg to the sky. Step right foot forward. Rise, high lunge. Inhale, nice and tall. Now open up Warrior 2, Virabhadrasana 2. Move your pelvis back. So instead of it pressing it to the front or the side of the mat, move the groins back. So your thigh bones go back into the pelvis like a little bit of a V. And then press your feet down and drag them toward each other until you feel these inner thigh and hamstring muscles activate. Keeping those muscles active, get lighter through the midsection. So instead of being down here, lift the belly, lift the sides of the abdomen up, okay? You'll feel a little bit of cinching of the waistline when you do that. Keep that, arms out to the sides, maybe hands even a little bit above shoulder height. Turn the gaze over the front hand. Let's do 3 breaths. Atta Yoga Nusasana. You'll notice that when you breathe deliberately, it's easier to be in the now. And so pranayama, breath work, is one of the teachings of yoga, one of the pillars of yoga. Reverse warrior, inhale. Exhale, hands to the ground. Pivot the back heel up. Take an inhale, step forward, halfway lift. Exhale and bow forward. Pause here, observe as you breathe in, observe the right hip and the left hip. That observation is the key. Becoming present to listen to the body. Inhale, reach up to the sun, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands to heart. Second side, inhale, reach up. Exhale, bow to the earth. Halfway lift, inhale. Right foot back, exhale. Scoot the tail, push down through the heel, rise up, high lunge. Okay, just adjust your stance as needed. Start with the strength of the legs. Push the 2 feet down and draw them toward each other until you feel your inner thigh muscles, your hip flexors, and your hamstrings all ignite, your gluteus muscles. So you get into the stance and then you squeeze everything in and up so you get a little lift. Now, as you push down through your feet, start to get taller in the midsection. So climb your right side, your left side, your shoulders up towards your ears, your rib cage up towards the sky. Get lifted in the midsection. Reach up through the fingers and take the hands back. Now lift the gaze up. Let's take a full breath in. Exhale, hands to the ground, release. Straighten through the front leg. Inhale, look forward. Exhale and bow forward. Full breath in and out. Inhale, bend the front knee. With control to down dog, exhale. Forward to plank pose, inhale. Exhale, chaturanga. Slide hands and feet wide, three-part cobra. Soften. Inhale, pull the belly up. And release. Inhale to plank or all fours. Exhale, down dog. Let's take one breath to observe. Tap into the sensations of the body. Sensation exists in the now only. Left leg to the sky, inhale. Step left foot forward. Rise, high lunge, push down, nice and tall. Open up, Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. Adjust your stance. Move the groins back, so pelvis back, so you're not pressing the hips forward. It'll feel like you're sticking your butt out at first, okay? That's okay. Press your feet down and drag them toward each other. Okay, with the inner thighs now activated and your front heel pressing down, if you press through the outer heel, you're gonna get your glute muscles fired up. Keep the inner legs and the buttocks active. Lift the midsection, lift the belly, and take the arms out to the sides. Okay, if your hands are a little more lifted today than perhaps you normally would, so you feel the rise up through the midsection. Turn the gaze over the hand. Atta Yoga Nusasanam, in the now. Yoga happens, we breathe in. Feel the experience of the body inflating with energy. Exhale it out. Notice the pulse between inhales and exhales. This is the pulse in all things. In the now, yoga happens. Feel the energy of breath moving through you. One more. Reverse warrior, inhale. Exhale, hands to the ground. Pivot the back, hip closed. Inhale, step forward, half lift. Exhale, bow forward. Rise to the sun, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands to heart. Take one breath, observe, notice how you feel. Constantly drawing your attention to this moment through sensation, through observation in particular. This is the practice of yoga. Bend your knees. Feet about hip width apart or so. And with your feet hip width apart, with your hands on your thighs, move your knees and hips back. Just getting through some of the foundations of the practice today. Getting connected to these postures that we're going to use a lot. See if you can isometrically, with your knees pointing straight forward, isometrically push the heels out. So it's like you're separating the mat underneath your feet, and you should feel your outer buttocks and buttock muscles engage, like you're trying to almost widen your buttocks. So you push the heels outward isometrically, and it feels like the back of your pants get tighter as a result. Okay, sit a little bit lower, but still keep the knees back. Now, keeping the back of the pelvis widening, stick your bum up to the sky a little more. It's called anterior tilt. When you, instead of posterior tilt, tucking the tail, you're gonna go anterior tilt, stick your buttocks up and push the heels out. Is it possible to keep this positioning of the pelvis, keep this strength of the legs, and then just think about micro tucking the tail as if you're trying to go back into posterior tilt. Just a little tuck until you feel your deeper glutes fire up. Okay, with all that strength and sensation, the mind will want to run away from the posture, from the sensation, the experience. See if you can Atta Yoga Nusasanam, in the now yoga happens. Can you be in this present moment with the intensity of it? Lift the belly up. Take the arms into a cactus-like shape. Your shoulder blades will come towards each other. Your chest will open up. Stay here, Atta Yoga Nusasanam. Even though it might be uncomfortable to activate your muscles, this is a good thing for your body to get stronger. And your heart starts to beat a little bit more. Feel the breath, the energy of it moving through you, that you are alive. Now reach the arms up to the sky. Hatha Yoga Nusasanam. Exhale, bow, Uttanasana, forward fold. Having now built strength in the body. Inhale, halfway lift. You can step or hop back to Chaturanga. However you want to get there, it's up to you. Slide the hands and feet wide, three-part cobra, inhale. Exhale, melt. Pull the chest forward, lift the abdomen up, lift the heart up. Exhale, release. Plank or all fours, inhale. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana, down dog. Right leg to the sky, inhale. Step right foot forward. High lunge, rise up tall. Open warrior two. Reverse warrior, inhale. Exhale, side angle preparation. Forearm to the thigh, hand to the hip. Move the groins and pelvis back. So you can sway the top of the back thigh bone back. Your chest will come forward to start. Press your 2 feet down and squeeze in until you feel these inner thigh muscles engage. Hatha Yoga Nusasanam. Feel the activation of your body in this moment. Press down through the front heel. Without swaying the back thigh bone forward, keep it back. Just start to tuck your tail slightly underneath to activate the glutes. Press through your right heel. Now turn the belly and the chest. A little bit of a back bend to open the heart. You can take the left hand to the sky if that feels right, or you can keep the hand on your hip. It's up to you. And now if you'd like, slide the right hand to a block or the ground. That's an option. The heart opens by leaning the chest back. Careful, make sure your legs are strong and stable in the position. Let's take a full breath in. Exhale. 2 more. One more breath. Feel the energy of breath flowing through your body. Release, left hand to the ground. Cross your feet. So right foot goes to the left side of the mat, left foot to the right. Straighten through the right leg. Inhale, look forward and pull the right hip bone, right side of your buttocks, back. Hands could be on blocks as an option. Bow forward if that suits you, otherwise stay lifted. Okay, no need to go overdo it. This will stretch the outer line of your hips, your IT band even. One more breath. Okay, inhale, bend the knee, place the palms down. Step to down dog as you exhale. Adjust your feet as needed. Forward to plank pose, inhale. Chaturanga. Slide hands and feet wide, 3-part cobra. Melt, shoulders back, heart forward. Pull the chest forward, belly forward and up. Sorry, belly up, chest forward. Exhale, release. All fours are plank. Exhale, down dog. Left leg to the sky. Step forward. High lunge, rise up nice and tall. Open warrior two. Pelvis back, groins back. Press your feet down, drag the feet toward each other. Get the inner thigh muscles active, strong in the legs. Reverse warrior, inhale. Exhale, side angle preparation. Forearm to the thigh, hand to the hip. Again, pelvis goes back, specifically in the back thigh bone here. Sway the top of the back thigh back, your right buttocks moves back. Now, press your feet down, drag them toward each other. That'll engage your hamstrings and the back inner thighs there. The last step of that in the legs is to start to tuck the pelvis underneath without sending the right thigh bone forward. So you move the right thigh bone back and scoop the tail at the same time. Okay, or not at the same time, but one at a time, right? Thigh bone stays back, scoop the tail. Pressing down through the left outer heel will help get the glute muscles fired up, engaged. Now, start to unwind the spine, a little back bend, and then open the chest. Optionally, right hand to the sky, and left hand can come to the block or the ground. Once you're in the pose, stay strong in the legs and start your intentional Ujjayi breath, getting back into that awareness that there is life pulsing through us. Atta Yoga Nusasanam. In the now, yoga happens. Yoga is experienced only in the now. One more breath. Okay, releasing. Crisscrossing the legs. Inhale, straightening through both legs. Pull the left outer hip back. That will start to stretch the outer line of the abductors, the outer hip muscles, through the IT band. You could place your hands on blocks. Option to bow. Let's do 2 more breaths. Bend the front knee on the inhale. Step down dog, you'll have to adjust your feet. Forward plank pose on the in-breath. Chaturanga. Slide hands and feet wide, 3-part cobra. Soften. Pull the chest forward and up. Exhale, release. Plank pose, inhale. Exhale, down dog. Let's do 3 breaths, observing the energy of the body. Feeling the breath pulse through the energy of life. Consciousness inside of you. Lift the heels up on the inhale, look forward. Optionally step, walk, hop to the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bow. Bend the knees, hands on the thighs. Chair pose preparation. Move the knees and hips back. Push the heels out, getting the outer hip muscles active. You're in an anterior tilt to start. Now start to tuck a little bit with the tailbone just so you feel your glute muscles fire up. And now round the upper back. Take your left tricep to the right thigh for a twist. Right palm on top. Take a breath in. A gentle back bend. Curl the heart open. 3 breaths here. Hatha Yoga Nusasana. Stay focused in the now. Now look down at your right foot and lean your knees forward towards your toes. Lift your left heel, keep your weight forward, and slide the left foot back into lunge preparation. Now gather strength in the legs, push down through your front heel so your hips lift up and you get stronger in the legs. Pull the belly back. And on the exhale, slow twist. Lengthen through the top of the head. 3 more breaths. Hatha Yoga Nusasanam. One more breath. Take your right hand to your thigh. Inhale, unwind, left hand to the ground. Straighten through the front leg slowly. Exhale, bow over your straight front leg. Full breath in. Full breath out. 2 more. In the now, yoga happens. Bend the front knee. Step to down dog. Plank pose, inhale. Chaturanga. Slide hands and feet wide, 3-part cobra. Melt. Pull the chest forward and up, lift the belly. Exhale, release. Plank pose. Exhale, down dog. Full breath in. Feel. Full breath out. Hatha Yoga Nusasanam. In the now, yoga happens. Experience what is happening now. Stay attentive. And lift the heels up on the inhale, look forward. You have the option to walk, step, or hop. When you get there, halfway lift on the in-breath. Exhale to bow. Bend the knees, hands on the thighs. Knees back, hips back. Push the heels out isometrically with a little anterior tilt. You'll feel your outer hip muscles activate. Now round the upper back and slight posterior tilt without losing the outer hips engaged, and you'll get your full buttocks engaged. So if you're simultaneously pushing the heels out and tucking the tail, you're going to feel the whole gluteus muscle activation. That's going to be really important to the stabilization as you step back. Let's take the right tricep to the left thigh. Left palm on top. Draw your belly, sometimes taking your hand to the soft tissue of your abdomen and pulling it in towards the spine and then turning it can be very helpful. Okay, let's breathe. Lay back just a little bit. Hatha Yoga Nusasanam. In the now. Here with this breath. Yoga is. Looking down, slide the knees forward, like drift forward, put your weight in your toes. Then you can step the right foot back with ease. Once you get settled, push down into your feet so your hips lift up and drag your feet toward each other. Upon that stability, just a little scoop of the tail, turn the belly, slowly. 3 breaths. Inhale to unwind. Hands to the ground. Straighten through the front leg. And exhale, bow. In the now, yoga happens. Breathe and experience what's happening now. Hatha Yoga Nusasanam. Bend the front knee. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, plank. Chaturanga. Slide hands wide, feet wide. Lift the front body. Exhale, melt. Pull the chest forward and up, lift the belly. Exhale, release. Plank, inhale. Exhale, down dog. Lift the heels up, inhale, look forward. Walk, step, or hop. Get there, halfway lift. Exhale and bow. Just hands to the hips, arch the back, rise all the way up to stand. Tadasana. Bring your right knee up towards your chest. Pull with your hands upward. Flex the right foot. Optionally, grab left hand to outer right foot or left hand to outer right knee. If you grab the foot, you have two options. Either keep the knee bent or start to extend the leg forward. Regardless of which option you're choosing, hand to knee, outer foot, or extended leg, start to lift the belly up, get tall, pull your left shoulder back, and start to turn the chest. Pick a point with your eyes to look at and focus on it. Easiest is forward. Second easiest is to the side. Most challenging is to the back. Pick a point, Atta Yoga Nusasanam, stay focused on it. It's a form of pratyahara, keeping the attention, the eyes on one point. Focusing all of your mind's energy on that one point. Slowly come back to center. If your leg is straight, bend the knee and release. Tadasana. Feel the breath now. Feel the sensations of your body. Hatha Yoga Nusasanam. In the now, yoga exists. Left side. Bring the left knee up. Again, you have the option, right hand to outer knee, or if you pull your knee tight, you can grab right hand to outer foot. You can keep the knee bent if you have the foot, or optionally, you can straighten the leg. We take a breath in, lift the belly up, turn it to the left. Pick a point. Forward is the most accessible. To the side wall, a little more challenging. To the back wall, the most challenging. Breathe. Atta Yoga Nusasanam. Stay focused here in the now. Keep your drishti, your eyes, gaze at one point. Stay focused on it. Ooh. Start to unwind and release. My apologies for distracting you if my fall distracted you. Take a full breath. Atta Yoga Nusasanam. In the now, yoga happens. Yoga happens when the mind is present here and now. Inhale, reach the arms up to the sun, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale to the earth, bow, Uttanasana. Halfway lift on the inhale. Step or hop back, Chaturanga. Three-part cobra, inhale. Exhale, soften. Pull the belly up, heart forward. Exhale, release. Plank on the inhale. Exhale, down dog. Let's take the right shin across the yoga mat.
lift everything up except for the front foot and move everything back a little bit. I suggest if you're new to practicing with me, try bowing your chest more to the left and letting this left hip come closer to the ground as you do so. But see how I keep my back heel reaching back as I'm doing this. Hatha Yoga Nusasanam. Yoga is the experience of the mind being fully present in what is happening now. Feeling the breath pulse through. Feeling the sensations of the hip opener. If you're activating muscles like I am while being in the pose, the back leg is turning in and reaching back. It's very easy to lose that presence, that attention on the actions. It's very easy to want to just kind of collapse in the pose and relax into it, which is the opposite of being in the now. Can you stay focused on the actions that you're doing? Okay, come on up. Step to down dog. Take one breath in, observe. And let's place the left shin across the mat. Again, you can walk. So what I usually do is when you get there, lift everything up and move everything back. Just to, not to the extreme where you can't be in the pose or when your hip is like this. Keep both hips level. And then my suggestion typically is to bow more to the right. That'll help your pelvis rotate so that the right hip comes closer to the ground, giving you a little bit deeper of a stretch. Hatha Yoga Nusasana. In the now, yoga happens. Yoga is the experience of being in the now, in this moment. Unwind, walk your hands back, and come to down dog. Forward to plank. Lower all the way down. Roll onto your back. Take a happy baby pose or just hug your knees to your chest. And release into Shavasana. Let's take a full breath through the nose. Exhale it out. Release the Ujjayi breath. And now feel the buzz of your body. Feel the vibration in your palms. This pulse of energy that is inside of you.
this experience right here, right now, is yoga. Bring your awareness now back to your breath. Feel your body as well. Awaken the fingers and the toes. Stretch the arms. Bend the knees. And roll to your side. Come up to a seated position. A very simple and brief pranayama to close our practice, and something that you can practice each day during this month if you'd like. So simply, it's called box breathing. You just breathe in for 4 counts, hold for 4, breathe out for 4, hold for 4. And when you're holding the breath, try not to clench the throat. Try to do it from the diaphragm. So you can inhale for 2, 3, 4, and then push the diaphragm down. Try not to clench the throat. 3, 4. Exhale the breath out. 2, 3, 4. Hold. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Hold. Inhale. exhale. Hold. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Hold. Inhale. And just exhale, palms to the heart. Notice what you feel. Hatha Yoga Nusasanam. Here in the now. This is yoga. Thank you for stepping into this present moment with this community, with me and everyone here. I appreciate your efforts. I appreciate your attention. We bow in towards each other in honor of this practice, in honor of all those that have passed this practice down to us, and of course everyone here that is putting the effort into your own practice, making this a community. Thank you so much. Namaste. All right, everybody, thank you, thank you. Hope you enjoyed session number 1. I did get the request. I saw that Kristen asked for the page numbers. So the page number I was working with today is page 21, which is the big picture, what is yoga? Hatha Yoga Nusasanam is Sutra 1.1. In the Now, Yoga Happens. And we briefly went over also 1.2, Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha Tada Drashtu Swarupe Vashtanam, which is 1.3, and Vritti Sarupam Ittaratra. Ittaratra is 1.4. We touched on those in the beginning of the conversation. All of that is on page 21 of Tantra of the Yoga Sutras.